The movie begins with a summary of the key events that took place in the last 2 years in a comic style. Gintoki, Takasugi, and Katsura fight their way past the Thendo-Usu forces who have taken over the terminal. Katsura fires a grenade at the enemy while explaining that the mothership at the terminal's top is still absorbing a large amount of Altana. The mothership is channeling it into Shoujo's body in order to resurrect him and achieve true immortality. The group is soon attacked by a swarm of enemies. Katsura is glad to be fighting alongside Gintoki and Takasugi in what may be his final moments. As the group charges, they attack the enemies with grenades and destroy the escalators leading to the mothership. Gintoki and Takasugi are about to fall as a result of the destroyed escalators, but Takasugi saves them. Gintoki looks around at more troopers gathering and admits that he knows what it's like to want to live forever. Katsura is hit as the others get completely surrounded. Shinsengumi, Hyaka, Oniwa Bansu, and the rest of the Kabukicho residents fight the rest of the Thendo-Usu army inside the terminal, while Matsudaira shoots down the ships from outside. Kondo requests that Matsudaira separate the enemies from the terminal so Gintoki and the others can reach the top. Matsudaira, on the other hand, wishes to destroy the mothership. Kondo explicitly says that it is not a good idea because all of the Altana are stored on the ship. After taking care of the Thendo-Usu forces on the ground level, Shimura, Kagura, Hijikata, Okita, Kondo and Shimura head upstairs. Thendo-Usu leaders have a meeting where they talk about how long and impacting the battle is. They are fearing to lose the sect in the process of resurrecting Utsuro. Thendo-Usu leaders notice the body of Shoujo reconstructing his heart in the form of crystals, using the energy from Altana. The leaders can't back up or withdraw because they are being controlled by Utsuro's genes. Gintoki is reminiscing about the past, when he took the heart from Shoujo. Takasugi asks Gintoki to hand over the heart. As they take the elevator, they are attacked once again and they split up into two, with Katsura holding on to Shoujo's heart. One of the Thendo-Usu leaders, now with Utsuro's face, stabs Takasugi in his chest and slashes his throat. Takasugi regenerates his wounds and along with Gintoki, they have a fierce fight with two Thendo-Usu leaders. Katsura and Hitsugi engage in a fierce battle, and after taking the heart from Katsura, Hitsugi eventually stabs and destroys the heart, revealing that he had no intention of reviving the child. He only wanted to free Utsuro from the curse of immortality. Without the heart, Shoujo would only be able to regenerate and maintain his body temporarily. While piercing the heart, Hitsugi also damages the center of the terminal that was absorbing the energy of Altana. Gintoki and Takasugi fight the Thendo-Usu leaders, who are controlled by Utsuro, due to Utsuro's blood coursing through their veins. Takasugi tells Gintoki to use him. Takasugi holds the Thendo-Usu leaders with their swords stabbed into his chest while Gintoki proceeds to destroy the center of the terminal channeling the energy. Gintoki runs to protect Takasugi but falls off the ledge after separating the swords from Takasugi. Shinpachi and Kagura jump after him and using their weapons, Gintoki manages to finish off one of the Thendo-Usu leaders. With the Yorozuya reunited, Sadaharu recovers to his original state and tries to rescue Gintoki. Strangely, Sadaharu decides to eat Gintoki and poop out two old men before throwing up Gintoki. Shimura and Kagura are happy to see Gintoki again. However, turns out, Gintoki became shorter than his regular size and the two old men are actually his legs that got separated. So, Sadaharu decides to eat Gintoki, and the two men again once more and then poop out a completely dressed up Gintoki. In the meantime, Takasugi reaches the Thendo-Usu ship to find that Shoujo has been revived and has killed off the rest of the Thendo-Usu leaders. Takasugi addresses the new body as Sensei, but he is no longer the Sensei Takasugi knew. As Shoujo walks closer to bleeding Takasugi and tells him that he was one of the people he wanted to protect. Shoujo's only wish is to put an end to himself and Utsuro, both miserable due to their immortality. Takasugi begs Shoujo to return to Shoka Sanjaku with him. Shoujo apologizes for not being able to save his disciples. As he approaches Takasugi, the Takasugi stabs him, revealing that Utsuro's blood has taken over his body as well. A large explosion at the top of the terminal separates Gintoki from the others and he faces off Utsuro, now manifesting in Takasugi's body. Gintoki is easily overpowered by Utsuro at the beginning and uses the friendship between the two as a leverage. Utsuro taunts Gintoki with the warning he gave 2 years ago. Tragedy will only recur as long as humanity continues to live on. Utsuro tells Gintoki that he could hear Takasugi's voice telling him to put an end to everything quickly. Gintoki replies that no matter what tragedy Takasugi goes through, he would never say something as admirable as that. He would only say, "I simply destroy." Utsuro comes to a realization that Takasugi did not stab his sensei earlier. Instead, supported by Oboro whose blood also runs through his body, Takasugi stabbed himself. The body that Utsuro saw lying on the ground was himself. Gintoki and Utsuro fight each other, and Utsuro asks if he really wanted to cut down his friend. Gintoki responds that the people he wanted to protect, including Takasugi, are right there in his soul. With every hit Gintoki lands on Takasugi's body, he reminisces their past and childhood together. With a final stab and in a human body, Utsuro is no longer immortal and dies. He finally understands that humans are inherently empty, but because of that, they bring other people to live on within their soul and will not be destroyed even in death. Gintoki holds a dying Takasugi in his arms, as Takasugi counts the score and tells him that Gintoki has won again. Gintoki reminds Takasugi that his sword was the one that ended Utsuro. Takasugi says that he could not let Gintoki cut down their teacher one more time and felt that it was much easier for Gintoki to cut down Takasugi, because of all the fights and bickering they had done since childhood. Gintoki tells him that Takasugi had won this fight because he was the one who protected both him and Shoujo, and said that he would have liked to exchange drinks with Takasugi. They imagine the two of them on a boat cruising down a river filled with cherry blossom petals. Takasugi tells Gintoki to get going because he still has people to protect. He said that the last thing he saw with his left eye was Gintoki's tearful face and asks him not to show a disheartened look when he closes his right eye too. Gintoki smiles and tells Takasugi to wait for him in hell. Takasugi dies in his arms. Gintoki's tear drops on the lifeless face of his lifelong friend. Shinpachi and Kagura rescue the wounded Shoujo, who asks them why they would help someone who was the source of all the calamity. Shinpachi says that he always wanted to speak with the person who shaped Gintoki, and thanks Shoujo for allowing them to meet him and all their other friends as a result. Shoujo remembers the past and says that the opposite is true. After meeting Gintoki and the other kids, his life finally had a meaning. Katsura tells everyone to evacuate the terminal because it has become more unstable, but Sakamoto says that it won't help as the whole planet might get exploded due to the unstable force within the terminal. Shoujo intervenes and tells everyone to escape via Sakamoto's ships. He explains that he can use the Altana in his body to cancel out the energy bursting out of the terminal. As he walks into the main reactor of the terminal, he wishes for the first time that his body could hold on for a while longer. Shinpachi and Kagura are instructed to leave and save themselves, but they decide to join him and Katsura stays behind as well. Shoujo takes out his heart and lets it absorb the energy. Gintoki rushes towards the main reactor when Shinsengumi hands him a radio. Katsura tells Gintoki, via the radio, the location of Shoujo and the Yorozuya members. He also adds that he has spent his childhood covering up for Gintoki and Takasugi whenever they made mischief, and he couldn't leave until he did that again. He tells Gintoki to go wild, for Takasugi's share as well. The Shinsengumi helped Gintoki get to the room where Shoujo was, and the four join hands to push back the surging Altana. Shoujo tells Gintoki that just like how the immortal demon became human when he met Gintoki that day, the little demon Gintoki, who once had sad eyes, met a whole bunch of people and became human. As Shoujo disappears, Gintoki tells him that he wanted to show his teacher what he has been doing since then. Running the Yorozuya with his friends. The voice of Shoujo echoes through the room, telling Gintoki that he could clearly see that Gintoki has become such a great person. Shoujo starts to crystallize and eventually disappears while the terminal crumbles to the ground. Sometime in the future, Tama wakes up with memories of what has happened given to her by Tamako. She doesn't remember why she is at Master Gengai's workshop, but her clone, Tamako, has transferred all the data she had collected into her. Tama is still very confused and asks Tamako how long she has been sleeping. She and Tamako walk around the city, which has now transformed into a very futuristic Tokyo. Tamako explains that after the war, Edo was reborn and entered a period of sustained development. Tama asks the whereabouts of the people and dives deeper into her memory data. After the final battle, Gintoki returns to the Yorozuya and their life before the battle. Tama is relieved to see Gintoki and others in their usual goofy selves. Much of their old friends have remained the same and Tama watches as they celebrate at Snack Smile. She notices the news of the terminal being rebuilt. Shinsegumi also returns to power. Kondo, who advances towards Shinpachi's sister, Shimura, now has pleasant talks with her in the party. Sakamoto writes to Gintoki and informs him that Katsura met up with the remaining people of the Kahaitai. He also informs about the space stations are flourishing. Matako has been searching for Takasugi, hoping he would be somewhere, but as he walks through the N4 Altana gates and found a baby that has emerged from one of the holes. Sakamoto suggests that it wouldn't be weird if Shoujo protects Takasugi somehow. Tama runs to the location where the Yorozuya used to be, only to find the spot empty and surrounded by futuristic buildings. As she walks with a sad face, she spots Hasegawa as a homeless person who tells her that machines has taken over the world and humans are mostly unemployed like him. It turns out that Tamako has been fed false memories by Hasegawa and the illusion around them shatters. Suddenly, the Yorozuya kick him in the face and curse Hasegawa for creating such a sham ending. The Yorozuya is still around and Gintoki tells her to wipe her tears away. Gintoki, Shinpachi and Kagura rush off to an urgent job, but have apparently forgotten what the task was supposed to be. But whatever it is, they would get it done. After all, they are the Yorozuya. In the ending credits, in a classroom setting, Jinpachi-sensei makes an appearance to answer unresolved questions. Some students ask about Gintoki's origin, including if Gintoki is half a manto due to his silver hair and if the baby was really Takasugi. The students also resemble different students who look similar to different characters. At the end, they make a vote about whether Takasugi alive or not. If you enjoyed this recap, check out the next episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more anime recaps, turn on the bell notification for future uploads and leave a like to help the channel out.